He is my legal correspondent, my best friend, my life consultant, and my gambling buddy. His name is Jay St Clair, and he joins us on Fri-Jay. What is going on, my friend?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm great. The better question is, how are you?
You know, if I were any better, I would be flying an F-47 right now.
How about that? Isn't that pretty cool?
That cannot be a coincidence.
I was trying to figure out which I would like better, is if it weren't a coincidence or it were. I don't know. Either way, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. That is so cool.
What about him? I don't know if you heard that clip that I played right before you came on.
I did. You're right. His instincts are so. But Matt, he's been this way for decades.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard this wonderful story? This was, well, I guess he was in the public eye, but he certainly went in politics. He was going somewhere and he had a flat tire in downtown New York, and some guy stopped and helped him change his tire. It was some stranger, right? And he didn't know who it was. So the next day, Trump paid off his mortgage.
What?
Oh, yeah. Look it up.
Wow.
Look it up.
That's pretty
just
cool.
That's who he is. They say that character is what you do when no one's watching.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what he does when no one's watching.
That's that's B.A., Jay. B.A. I absolutely love everything about that. Well, how's your world, Jay? Spring is here. You were out at the track last weekend, huh? How did that go?
No, I was. Oh, that was great. I had a great time. I really did. It's the best track day I've had in a long time. There's a guy out there with some kind of car I got, and we parked beside each other and just had a blast. It was fun, and there's a lot of race cars. The Indy cars will be here the first week in May. I guess the Indy cars race in Nashville now, so y'all know about that.
Oh, yeah.
And so the Indy cars there. So everybody, and there's support races. And so a lot of the cars, race cars, were there. So there were some fast cars on the racetrack. So guys that turn like 125s. So I'm out here, with a bunch of sharks paddling in my little, pontoon boat. And,
what do the Indy guys turn?
Yeah, so this is amazing, man. This is just amazing. So for cars like mine, track cars, kind of the benchmark is 1 minute 40 seconds. That's fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you go buy a $300,000 Porsche GT3,
mm-hmm.
you can turn about a 128, a minute 28 seconds.
Okay.
The track record, I think, for motorcycles, we had this debate or conversation one time. You're wondering what would go faster, a car or a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
The fastest motorcycle lap around that track is 1 minute 22 seconds,
mm-hmm.
I think.
Right.
That's almost 20 seconds faster than me. Indy cars. Track record. 1 minute 6.
Good gracious.
Seconds.
And
it's incredible.
And it's over 2 miles, right?
Oh, yeah, 2.3 miles.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a road course. There's 17 corners on the track, man. Their top speed is 180 miles per hour.
That's fascinating.
No, it's
fascinating.
Incredible.
That's good stuff. Did you? And I'm sorry if I'm boring people that don't care about this, but Jay does track days at Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, this is how they pay for free legal advice.
That's exactly right. That's a good point, Jay. This y'all are paying for it. So didn't you do a track day like right after the IndyCar race when there was a lot of rubber down?
Yeah.
It's
so cool.
Could you notice it?
Oh, yeah, big time. And I learned from it because when they're taking the tight corners, they lay rubber down, from those slicks.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly in turns 2 and 3, I've told you about this. I can't get comfortable in those corners.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they lay a strip of rubber down those corners. So it's a right-hand turn. So you can see right where the edge of their left side tires are. I mean, you can see it down to the inch. And so, yeah, I was using that to come through there and put my car exactly where their cars are.
Oh, boy.
It's just very cool.
That's just that is pretty darn cool. And yes, we lament the fact that because of the stadium construction, they're building that new stadium downtown Nashville. We had the race, the Indy cars going through the streets of Nashville for a few years.
Right.
And I went, and it's very cool. I mean, just very cool.
No,
But
they're incredible machines.
they've had to pull them back out to the Speedway in Lebanon for a couple of years because they're building that stadium. But they expect to be back on the streets of Nashville. And we need to get you up here, Jay. You'd absolutely love it.
Yeah. No, I think all forms of racing are really going to this road racing kind of stuff down the street racing. It's just more fun. It's more interesting. And I got into it at the right time. I love it.
Jay, a lot of folks already lining up to get questions answered, and I have one for you, and several people have already formulated this question as well. And I'll give you a couple of examples of it. Question for Jay: do federal district judges? You can telegraph this one coming 1,000 miles away, Jay. Do federal district judges have the authority to pause federal action nationwide outside of their district? And I've got a lot of versions of that question. Obviously, this is coming up because of the sheer amounts. If it was just one case, maybe we'll just forgive it and say, it'll be handled. But, I mean, this is obviously it feels like a concerted effort on the part of, the political left to get them into courts that are friendly to them. Talk to us about it.
Right. This is kind of a technical answer, but it is a technical question, man. It kind of goes back to $400 and a crayon.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is the correct answer of what does it take to file a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
$400 and a crayon. So the question is, well, it depends on how we phrase the question. Can judges enter nationwide orders? Can they? The answer is yes, they can.
Right.
All it takes, it doesn't even take $400. It just takes a crayon. And it may be a totally bogus order, but it is a court order. So that's the answer to the question of can they? So then let's say, I think what people are really asking is it lawful for them to do that? And the answer to that is an open question, man, because it's a fairly new phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just in the last few years. And so there is no definitive word from the Supreme Court over whether federal district courts have authority outside of their district. I would have said no. And they really don't have authority. Well, they certainly don't have authority beyond the parties that are in front of them. But, here the party is the president. But then, the example I give, desegregation of schools, right? That was a huge decision by the United States Supreme Court. And the school involved was the school board of Topeka, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the order was issued in that case. You know how many schools were affected by that order?
Look, I've sounded smart for the last 2 weeks saying this because one. You taught me that. One.
That's right. Yeah, the one that was involved in the lawsuit. Well, then how did that end up having a nationwide effect? Well, once the Supreme Court decided that case, it became the law of the land. That decision did not technically apply to any other school, but if any schools did not follow that decision, they would get sued and they would lose. 100% chance they would lose, and it's a fool's errand. So they just lined up and followed the law.
Yeah, because whatever process would happen, ultimately the lawyers are going to say, Your Honor, the Supreme Court has spoken to this, and it was Brown versus Board of Education. And
that's right.
Yeah, we know what the outcome is going to be.
That's right. Those cases wouldn't take very long to be decided.
So, I've been saying, Jay, since our conversation last week, that the remedy seems to me to be pretty simple, and that is you look to Congress and you say, y'all, because the Article 3 is pretty clear, right? That no lower court is mentioned in the Constitution that I've read. The Supreme Court's mentioned, and they say, and if y'all want to create some other courts, Congress can do that.
Right.
So the Congress could clarify this, could they not?
No, they could. That would take over 60 votes in the Senate, and I don't think that'll happen, man.
Okay.
I just don't think they can break a filibuster on that. So what it's going to take is getting that issue in front of the Supreme Court and the Trump administration. I'm telling you, these people did their homework, man. It's amazing to me. I wouldn't bore you with all the intricacies. They have been thinking about this stuff for years. And this is one of them they've been thinking about. They already have this particular issue teed up with the Supreme Court. there was a nationwide injunction issued. I've forgotten what the substance of the dispute was about. Well, they took it to the Supreme Court, not on the underlying merits of the case, solely on the issue of this nationwide injunction. And I think the Supreme Court will probably take that. So we may get an answer from that, from the Supreme Court on that, here 6 months or so.
Well, I've been doing this too long, folks. I know people are out there talking to the radios right now going, well, ask him what he thinks will happen when that goes down, Matt. No, I'm not, because Jay has taught me that while we can speculate, it's a dangerous game trying to guess what the courts would do. But
hey, I thought Justice Ginsburg was going to rule in my favor. I promise you, I walked out of the Supreme Court that day turned and said, well, we got Justice Ginsburg.
It's never not fun. For those who've never heard the story, when y'all argued before the Supreme Court on the Goodyear case, this is the Lilly Ledbetter case that everybody's heard about, you left the court and you said, we got Ginsburg. Well, she fooled you, didn't she?
She not only wrote the dissent, she read it from the bench, which is very rare.
Some of the folks who are on the line, Jay, let's get to Mike in Old Hickory. Mike, I only got about 2 minutes before the news, but it is yours, sir. You got a question for Jay St Clair.
Yeah, it's very simple. We've got judges now. Is this Judge Bowman or Bowman? I don't know how you pronounce it. He said Trump can't do this, turn the planes around, come back home. Then Trump's saying, nope, we're going to continue doing it. So now the liberals have found another federal judge, lower level, says, no, you, Trump, didn't abide by the first judge. And so now we're going to go to the Supreme Court, and we know it's going to go to the Supreme Court. Trump knows that. And now we've got John Roberts, who has now already admitted and already publicly has said that, man, he doesn't like Trump.
Well,
so
Mike,
John Roberts have to accept the case?
Mike, hold on.
Does John Roberts have to accept it?
Mike, I'm going to let Jay answer that, but I need a little bit of clarity on something you said. Do you mind?
I don't mind.
Okay. When did John Roberts say he doesn't like Trump?
You look at the statements he's made since Trump got elected in 2016, and you look at the rulings. It's very apparent that John Roberts is
so he didn't
supporter.
So he didn't say it. Now you're just inferring it because what you said. Because if we're
all right, let's just stop this. Let's just stop this.
Well, let me ask Jay. Let me ask Jay. Well, I'm going to ask Jay when we come back. I'm going to put you on hold, Mike. I'm going to ask Jay when we come back. I'm not trying to upset you, Mike, but you're like screaming about words meaning things, and they do. But then you say, well, John Roberts said he doesn't like Trump. Well, when did he say that? He's never said that. What he did say was that the appropriate path to take if there's a judicial ruling that you do not like is not impeachment. It is the appellate court system. Mike hung up. Mike, I wasn't trying to be rude to you. I just you called and you're like, blah, blah, blah. And then, and I'm just trying to clarify what you heard versus what I saw and what I heard. Jay, I will ask the question this way. By the way, it's Fri-Jay on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Plenty of calls, plenty of folks on the Super Text line. Jay, I'll pose the question this way because Mike brings up the point. Is it relatively rare for a Chief Justice to respond in that fashion? And what did you think? I mean, I felt like he was pretty clear that he was sending a message that the judicial branch is an equal branch of government too.
Right.
I mean, that's what I feel like he was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's rare. It's rare, but these are rare circumstances, man.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's unusual.
Don is next in Leapers Fork with a question for our man Jay St Clair. Hey, Don.
Jay.
Hey, Don.
Long time no talk.
Oh, this is our Don. Did y'all talk?
Oh, Matt, I cannot thank you enough. Put me in touch with Jay. What a great guy, and you did not tell me he was absolutely hilarious.
Well, look, I say quite often to people who talk to me about Jay. Jay doesn't hear this because he's never around when I say this, Don. But I'll say if you put Jay St Clair and Matt Murphy in a room together, you've got one really, really good man.
Well, I'm going to say this. His response when I asked him how he was doing, this was his response. I told him, I go, best response I've ever heard. He said if he was any better, he would be my dog.
It's that's true, right?
Dude, absolutely amazing, and I cannot thank you enough. He is a great guy. So are you, and that was really it. I just really wanted to thank you for having us on this week and putting me in touch with Jay. He's a great guy.
No, it was great talking with you, Don. It's an unfortunate situation we got, but I think we talked through it, and I wish you the very best of everything. I want you to know this. I wish you the best for your wife. I hope all that works out the best it can work out.
I cannot thank you enough, Jay. Thank you for taking that much time with me and talking with me about everything. And Matt, again, I know I've said it 100 times, but thank you again for
you're good, man. No, well, I mean, thank you, Don, and like Jay said, that's Don Bouchard, who was on the show the other day, and you know, Jay, I know I lean on you a lot, and you're such a good man that you help folks like Don out, but Don's such a good guy, and I just knew that you could give him some sage advice.
Yeah, no, absolutely enjoyed it. We talked for about an hour, and it was great.
Justin is next in Columbia with a question for our man, Jay St. Clair. Justin, what do you got?
Well, I got a question about a wheel. My grandmother had a wheel. I was supposed to get the house I live in and the empty lot next door and a portion of another property. My mother became power of attorney. She sold the empty lot next door to my house, and then she took my grandmother.
Now, wait a minute. You said so your grandmother passed away. Did she have a will?
She did.
And was that will put into probate?
Well, my mother, while my grandmother was having dementia, took her and made her put a will and everything in her name.
Oh, okay. And so under that will, she takes 100%.
Right.
So what you have to do is challenge that will. You have to get a lawyer. Okay.
But what I was getting at was like another family member and my mother and myself got together to try to work this out. So she wrote that she would give me the house and the money that she got for the empty lot. Right. She signed it, I signed it, and my cousin signed it. Will that hold up?
It should, absolutely should. And you were represented by a lawyer while this was going on?
Well, it was, but I have a lawyer, but...
Well, was your lawyer part of getting that agreement done?
No.
Okay,
no.
Well, then you need to take that agreement to the probate court. Was an estate opened in the probate court, Justin?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
April 26th.
Yeah. So you just need to get that filed in, and yes, they should enforce that agreement.
Okay.
Well, good luck. I'm glad y'all worked that out, Justin. That was a smart way to do that.
No, that's pretty good. No, I love calls like that. Nice and easy peasy. 615-737-9986. Kathy writes in and says, Matt, will you make sure when Jay is on to remind him that the Texas A&M Aggies beat Yale? Well, I tried.
Well, Kathy, I'm going to give it to you straight.
Here we go.
I have no idea what even sport you were talking about. I guess I know that Yale has sporting teams. I'm guessing it's probably hockey. When I lived up there, Matt, I between my place of residence and the law school was the Whale Bowl.
The Whale Bowl.
Oh, not the Yale Bowl. That's where they play football. That's where they play hockey. So, Kathy, trust me, I have lost no sleep over the fact that Yale lost their basketball. Although I did see that they lost.
Wow.
But I'm a lot more interested in what happens Saturday night against UCLA.
I bet you are. Big orange. They look
that's
pretty
where
good.
That's where my emotional energy is.
Look, I took exactly 75 seconds to fill out a bracket, Jay, but I got Tennessee going to the Final Four. So let's find out. Let's go. I mean, you know, I might not spend a lot of time on that bracket, but I know where I live.
Yep.
You know,
well, journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. I guess they've
true.
taken one step, but second one's Saturday.
Well, congratulations to the Texas A&M Aggies beating up on that poor high school team up there in Yankee. Carrie is next up in Murfreesboro with a question for Jay. Carrie, you're on with Jay St Clair. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's on your mind?
So it's actually Terry, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So my question is this, and this has just recently happened. So my father is getting a little older now. We did a will about 2 years ago. I am his power of attorney. So, but now we're getting to the point where I'm kind of having to help and getting things together. I just found out the other day he has an annuity or a pension. And my stepmother, who they divorced about 6 years ago, is still the beneficiary.
Yeah.
And they're telling me I cannot take her name off of it without a domestic relations order. During the divorce, she got her half, but they did not do, because he didn't have an attorney, it was her attorney, and they did not have her sign off. What can I do?
Wow, you're going to have to go back to the divorce court, Terry, because it is, yes, if you're going to divide up a retirement thing like that, you have to get a domestic relations order. I mean, that's just the law. And if the divorce decree, the first thing you need to do is get a copy of the divorce decree, the order, and see if it addresses this pension. That's the first thing to do. And if you didn't have a copy of it around there, you can get it from the courthouse. But it's all going to depend on what the divorce order says. If the divorce order gives her half of that pension, then that's what she's entitled to. And right, I mean, that's what the judge ordered. And that's not unusual, Terry. That's not. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what it is. You could go back and try to get the. Yeah, okay. Well, you can go back and try to get the judge to change that, Terry. But I'm telling you that that's gonna the chances of that happening are very small. How long were they married, Terry? How long were they married?
35 years.
Yeah, I mean that's very normal, Terry. Is when a couple has been married for 35 years, divorces. It is very, very common that a pension gets split in half between the two of them.
Right, and that is what happened. And she got to draw her half out.
Right.
But so she's already gotten her half.
Yep.
But
well,
now,
she's still getting it. She's still getting it, right?
No, she got a cash sum. Like he drew it out and paid her. And the decree actually says that. But nowhere in the decree did they say that she would, of course, hold herself. You know, she got her half. She's not going to lay claim to the rest of it. So now I've got to go back in and do that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me make sure I'm understanding your question. Pensions can be taken several different ways. They can be taken just 100% to the employee, the former employee, and the spouse gets nothing. Then, or the other thing they can do is say, well, I'll take less during my lifetime. So it'd be 100% while I'm living, and then 50% goes to my spouse. Maybe that's what you're talking about. Is he currently drawing the pension?
Yes.
Well, then you need to look at what type of drawing he's doing. If the pension payments stop when he dies, then there's no issue. If the way it's set up is that it's 100% to him now, but then when he dies, it's 50% to his wife. I don't think the ex gets that, Terry, because she's not his wife.
Well, according to this, it's I would tell the name, but I don't know if I should or not. They are saying that even though she's already pulled her portion out during divorce, she is still the beneficiary. So if on his death, she would get.
I don't
75%.
understand what a beneficiary is. There is no such thing as a beneficiary to a pension. What there is
That's
is
what they're
you could,
telling me.
well, that's not the right word. What the way that's set? Are you talking about the company that is administering the pension?
Yes.
If you can't get satisfaction from them, then what you need to do is go back to the judge that entered the divorce decree. And he can enter an order saying that no, the ex doesn't get any more. She's already gotten her share.
Okay, that's exactly what. Because I was afraid we were going to have to go back and have her sign over, and I don't know that she would at this point.
Well, you could try. Yeah, I mean, you could get her if she's willing to do that. And frankly, I didn't think she'd be interested in doing that, but that'd be the easiest way to do it. But if she won't do it, you just got to go back to the divorce court.
Terry, best of luck. I'm sorry I got to do it, but I got to run. I got to stop it there. But best of luck, and let us know how it goes. Jay, as always, it's just fascinating. We always leave a few on the table, and I'm sorry for that. If you were waiting on Jay, we're just simply out of time. Jay, I hope whatever team you root for wins this weekend, and I hope your driver wins unless he's going against Chase Elliott, who doesn't seem to be winning much anymore. But, you know how that goes. Where are we racing? I don't even know where we're racing this weekend.
They're at Homestead.
Oh.
And one of Kyle Larson's favorite tracks.
Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
Boy, got to listen to all that 5 talk. Jay,
Yes,
love you, brother.
Love
Take
you,
care.
man.